Today we're gonna make this incredible cheesy tomatoes and rice with chicken, so let's get started. So let's talk about these ingredients that we're gonna use today. I have 6 boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I've got some chicken broth, a yellow onion, a large tomato. We're gonna use minced garlic, some quick cook or minute rice, a little bit of cream cheese, Colby Jack cheese, half and half cream, lime juice, diced green chilies, some canned tomatoes and chilies, a simple seasoning mix that we'll talk about in just a few minutes, and some olive oil and salt and pepper. Oh, and we can't leave out cilantro. We're going to use it at the end. So it looks like quite a few ingredients, but it's really a simple recipe and it's completely worth it. To start this recipe, we're going to marinate both our chicken and our tomatoes in 2 simple but really easy marinades. So I've got 2-gallon zip top bags here, and that's what we're going to use. And I'm going to start with 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1/4 cup of lime juice. Now using fresh limes for this is really the best way to go rather than a pre-packaged lime juice. And then we've got a simple fajita seasoning of salt and pepper, garlic powder, cumin, chili powder, and oregano. And those are really great spices to use for things like chili and spaghetti. So if you don't have them, I would recommend that you go ahead and get those and stock your spice cabinet with them. And we're going to put our chicken right in this bag, all 6 chicken thighs. Just put them all in there. We don't worry about if they're stacked up or anything like that at this point. And then we're going to zip and turn it over and just massage. And then that's all you have to do to get that chicken marinating. And now that we have that chicken done, we can work on these tomatoes. And again, we've got our gallon zip top bag. We've got 6 slices of tomatoes, and I've got a little salt, pepper, garlic powder, and olive oil right there in the bag onto the tomatoes. And same process with the massage. Make sure that separate the tomatoes and each tomato gets a little marinade on it. And then you can set those aside too. And then we just have a little chopping to do and we'll be ready to cook. Okay, so now we're ready to brown our chicken. Now in this step, we're not worried about cooking the chicken all the way through. We just want to get it nice and brown on the outside. So we've got 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a pan. And when it gets nice and warm, we're going to take that chicken that we've marinated and we're going to add it to the pan with the heated olive oil. And then we'll go ahead and we'll add that marinade to the pan too. And we're just gonna let that chicken get nice and brown. Like I said, we don't want it to cook all the way through. We just wanna have a nice sear on the outsides. So when the chicken has a nice brown on the outside, we're just going to take it out of the skillet and set it aside and wipe out the bottom of this skillet. Because this is a 1-dish meal, we're going to cook our rice right in this pan and then we're going to pop it in the oven right in this pan. So we're going to clean this up a little before we go on to the next step. To wipe out our pan, I simply took mine to the sink and I used a sponge and a little water and wiped it out. It doesn't have to be all the way clean. You can have a little of the drippings left in the skillet and it works just fine. So we're back on the stove top over medium heat, and I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of chicken broth and then a teaspoon of garlic, all of that onion that we diced up, and then a can of green diced chilies, including the juice. And we're just going to let these ingredients cook down until the onions become translucent. And this is going to be the base of our rice. Now we're going to add about a cup of broth, a cup of half and half cream, got about a tablespoon of lime juice. It might separate a little bit when the acid of the lime juice hits that cream, but it's okay. We'll just keep stirring and it'll settle out later. And we're going to add 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. We're just going to stir this until it melts. Okay, so you can see that as we've continued to stir and let the cream cheese melt, any initial separating that the sauce had done when the lime juice hit the cream, all of the sauce is back together again, and it's nice and creamy. And this is going to be a good base that we're going to add our rice to. So we get that rice nice and folded into that sauce. And we're going to put the lid on this, and we'll let this rice cook for just about 5 to 8 minutes. And that's the beauty of using like a minute rice or a quick cook rice. That rice has already been parboiled, that means partially boiled, so the cook time is a lot quicker. To finish our rice, we're going to add in that can of diced tomatoes and green chilies and a cup of Colby Jack cheese. So you want to get these ingredients folded into that rice. And this combination of tomatoes and cheese and rice and green chili peppers, it is just so savory and delicious. Then we'll get our rice nice and kind of evened out in the pan. And we'll add another cup of cheese right on top. And you know the philosophy, we can never have too much cheese. And then we're going to take that chicken, those chicken thighs, and we're going to nestle them right down into this rice. And any kind of meat drippings that you have, all of that's flavor. So you don't want to forego that. Just go ahead and put it right in the dish. And then we're going to take those marinated tomatoes and we're going to put it right next to each slice, right next to a chicken thigh. We're going to nestle it down in there just like this. And we're not going to put the marinade from the tomatoes in there. But when we get to this point, we're ready to pop on the lid and place this in a 400-degree oven for about 10 minutes. Then we'll take the lid off and let it bake for another 15, and we'll be ready to go. So we've taken our rice out of the oven, and you can see it's gotten bubbly around the edges, and the tomatoes are nice and cooked. To finish this dish off before we take it to the table, we've got a little bit of cilantro, probably about 2 tablespoons, and we're just going to sprinkle it around the top of this dish. And I wish you guys could smell this. It smells so delicious. So let's talk about a few serving suggestions, because I want your recipe to be a success, not just in the kitchen, but all the way to the table. So my favorite way to serve this dish is with a little sauteed zucchini. But a green salad works great. And today what we've got is a couple of roasted green beans. So any green vegetable really works. You could also serve it with some salsa and tortilla chips if you wanted more of like a Mexican meal, or with some cornbread muffins. But look at this. It's everything that you need all in one dish. It takes about 45 minutes from beginning to the end to get it to the table. But you're gonna love the way that it tastes. So savory, so cheesy, so delicious, everything that you're craving. and I can't wait to see this on your table really soon. So if you like this recipe, don't forget to subscribe, not just to the YouTube channel, but to southerndiscourse.com, where you'll have access to all of my new recipes where I'm cooking up the Southern food you know and love, plus weekly meal plans and access to my new series, Dinner with Friends. From the kitchen to the table, I've got you covered.